going to look at the full onboarding process here within Hub. And in this case, we're already signed into Hub as a company administrator. We've already navigated to the new hire dashboard. We can see we have some employees who are already in play. But what we're going to do now is we're hiring a new employee, so we want to bring them through the full onboarding process. So I'm going to start by clicking on Add New. And the full onboarding process is just like the basic. It's 4 steps. But in this case, it's the basic employee information the administrator will enter. They'll select the documents that they want the employee to review. They'll create a customized questionnaire. And then they'll go through the finishing steps, which will then hand it over to the employee. Now, one of the first things we may see here are the states that you conduct business in. So Hub will have ways to be able to identify which states this company does business in through our payroll integrations. And that's important because we'll see later this employee will denote which states they will be working in so that we know which state level forms to bring them through. The new hire contact is basically, this is the person, if the new hire, the employee going through the process has any questions, this is who we want them to reach out to and contact. And it's pre-filled in. So we're trying to save some time here. We're looking at the last employee that you brought on board and reutilizing the same new hire contact that you utilized there. Now, obviously, if this information changes, you can easily change that right here. Let's get down to the employee information section. So in this case, let's enter in the information about the employee. So we're going to enter in Robert Smith here. Robert is our new, he's going to be our Director of Technology. And we're going to have a hire date of the 24th for Robert. Now we'll get into the state selection. So again, we saw before that, even though this company does business in multiple states, Robert, he's only going to be in Virginia, so we don't need to have him worry about New Jersey level forms. The last part of this section here is identifying a welcome message. Again, this is what gets displayed to the employee when they first enter the onboarding system. So what I can do here as well is I can look at prior messages that I've utilized, and I can reuse them again. So instead of having to think of something new every time, I can easily go, you know what, I really like the one that I have for Jeffrey, but what I'll do is I'll change this to Hey Robert, not Hey Jeffrey, so it looks customized. So we've just done that first step. We now get to the step of selecting which documents to bring this employee through. And we have them broken down to different sections now. All along the right-hand side, there's help information on each of these documents, including links to access them as well. So on the federal level, you can see we have the I-9 and the W-4 pre-selected. We think everyone should complete them, so that's why they're pre-selected. And this employer agrees they're going to keep them selected as well. Based upon the states we selected before, we now have the Virginia forms, in this case, the Virginia VA-4. That is something we do want, again, this employee to go through. We now have our ACA document, the Notice of Exchanges and Subsidies. It's very important that each employer presents this to the employee, so it's now through the onboarding process. And there are a number of questions that the employer will answer about, do they offer health care, do they not? So we understand which version of the Notice of Exchanges and Subsidies this employee should review. In this case, this employer does not. You can see some of these questions, again, are pre-filled based upon what you've answered for the prior employee that you have set up. So just some optimization, some time saving here. So we're going to keep the ACA Notice of Exchanges and Subsidies checked. Now we get down to the custom document. So this is where I can really add anything into the process that I would like. Assignment of intellectual property agreements, confidentiality agreements, non-solicit documentations, my employee handbooks, my health benefits, healthcare documentation. Whatever I want as the employer, I can bring into this process. And you can see we have 2 options. One, I can upload a new one from my computer. Or 2, I could see documents that I previously have used for other employees and reuse them over again. So in this case, I have my general assignment of intellectual property and confidentiality agreement. It's the only one I've used so far. I don't want Robert to do that, so I'm going to click that. The next thing I want to do, though, is I want to start bringing my employee handbook into the fray. So I want to open up real quick my Word document, This is the actual employee handbook for Dunder Mifflin. So we can see it's pretty extensive. It's got a lot of great information in here. But I'm going to go down to this page right here. We can see we have these tags built inside of it. So what the employer can do is reutilize the same document over and over again, but utilize this group of tags, we call them merge tags, so that it gets customized to each employee's experience. So whether I want to put the employee's name somewhere, their address somewhere, their social security number, their date of birth, every piece of information we're collecting about the employee will have an associated merge tag inside. So in this case, I can see I want the employee's signature to go right here, and I want their full name in uppercase to go here. So these merge tags are great ways that we can reuse the same document over and over and over again, but it'll be customized to each employee's experience. So let me go back now. Let me upload a new document. I'm going to upload that handbook that we just looked at. And we can see the document addition is 2 steps. First, I select the document from my computer, so I'm going to select that handbook. It's predefining what we think is a good name for this document based upon the way that the actual file name was. I kind of like that. I'm not going to change it. And now I can add a description. So this is our official company handbook. Now, as I upload it, what the onboarding system does is it inspects that document. It says, okay, let me see. Let me make sure that this is exactly what they want to utilize in the process. So we can see this document has 40 pages. We did detect that it requires an employee's signature because it has that employee signature tag on page 5. So this review step is a great way for the employer to say, yep, this is exactly what I want. Let me add this to my process. Now, sometimes I have these documents here. Here I have 2 selected for the employee, but I don't really like the order that they're in. So if I don't like the order, what I can easily do is grab them and drag them so that I say, you know what, I want the employee handbook to come first in the process, then I'll do the IP and confidentiality agreement. So I'm going to save and continue. I'm going to now build my questionnaire. First part is direct deposit. Do you want to let them enroll in direct deposit? Do you want to get emergency contacts from them? We're still working here on some pre-built questions. These are questions that we detect most employers seem to add. So the questionnaire allows me to customize this process for the employee. I can add any custom questions in play that I want them to answer. Do they have any food allergies? Do they want to enroll in the company benefit plan? Anything you can imagine could be added as a custom question. You can see, just like documents, I can create new ones, or I can select existing ones that I've utilized already. In this case, I'm going to keep it a little bit simpler for this employee. I'm not going to worry about any questions. So let me save and continue. I'm now in my review step. This is the last step before we hand it over to the employee. So we got the information. This is Robert. He's going to be our Director of Technology. Here's a list of documents we've selected for him to review and sign. We have some questions that he's going to answer. Now is my last step. I'm going to say, yes, let me certify everything is good. I want to complete this process. I'm going to complete it. Great. It's finished. It's now over in Robert's hands. Great job by me. What I can now do is I want to go back to look at the dashboard. So if I click back on my dashboard, I see Robert is in here in a yellow state. And that means that Robert, we're waiting for him to complete the process. Each one of these cards has a different color. Yellow means we're waiting for the employee to finish the process. Red means you haven't completed the setup yet. So it's not even in the employee's hands. We got an incomplete setup. Green means we're waiting for your review. So the employee did his work. It's now waiting for you to review. Let me click in on Robert just so you can see. We now have a view to see he has a number of steps he's going to be walked through. We haven't collected any information from him yet because he hasn't even started the process. But he's going to go through entering demographics. We're going to collect his signature. And you can see all the following steps that he's going to go through as well. So it gives you a nice dashboard. You can easily see where they are in the process. Let me go back. I think Jeffrey might be a better one to look at here. We can see in this case, Jeffrey's done a few of the steps. So we can access some of the documents he's already completed. We can also see where he's kind of stalled in the process. It might be a good opportunity to say, hey, Jeffrey, you need some help with that VA4. So again, this video, what we walked through was adding a new hire into the system through the full onboarding process, and then a quick review of the new